Welcome to the Global Pulse, a short video series where our experts break down a trending topic in international business and why it matters to you.
Greetings. Stay tuned to the end of this video for an important announcement if you have a family member or friend who's a CPA dealing in international taxation issues. And speaking of international taxation issues, we have at the start of 2024 a new scheme of how cross-border transactions are going to be taxed. The old scheme was started in 1928 by the League of Nations, and it's interesting that we're here almost 100 years later, and we've come full circle with new ways of doing global transactions, new technologies that have necessitated a reworking of how we tax large multinational enterprises. The OECD's concept is broken down into two pillars, Pillar 1 and Pillars 2. They combat some excesses that multinational enterprises were engaging in terms of creating tax transactions structured to lower their overall global tax rate. So Pillar 1 comes along and says, okay, where the old schematic from 1928 taxed only profits earned where you had a physical presence, and now we have the internet, and you've got lots of digital services that can occur all over the world and escape taxation in the countries where you're doing those digital services because there's no physical presence. So Pillar 1, which is not in effect yet, will say, hey, guess what? Your digital services are going to be subject to taxation where they occur. Pillar 2 was coming to combat the concept of, well, you know what? Some country says we can attract some corporate profits here by offering a lower tax rate. And sure enough, multinational enterprises set up businesses and set up shops and set up transactions in order to get those corporate profits taxed in those lower tax rates, so that if the United States has a rate of 21%, hey, say Starbucks could go to the Netherlands and get a lower tax rate, sometimes less than 10%, maybe less than 5%. So Pillar 2 sets a global minimum tax rate of 15%, thus reducing what was called the race to zero, the race to the bottom, the race to the lowest tax rate that countries were vying for when it would attract corporate profits to their country. And both of these pillars make sense for trying to get some fairness in the way the corporate profits are divided up amongst the nations of the world. They only apply to fairly large enterprises, 750 million euros in annual revenue for Pillar 2, and it'll be 20 billion euros for Pillar 1. And the result is that it will only affect 8,000 approximately multinational enterprises at this point. It may also have an effect on mergers and acquisitions, if you think about it, because if you're poised at 500 million euros today, and you were thinking of an acquisition or a merger which would put you over 750 million euros, well, you may be thinking twice about how to structure that deal. So it remains to be seen how these two pillars will affect the globalization of our economies, of our businesses that are doing this kind of work, this kind of transactions all over the world. But stay tuned, because it could be very interesting, to say the least. I had an announcement for your CPA friends who might be in the international tax world, and that is the complications of a global minimum tax rate are huge, as you might imagine, in order to capture that all countries are playing fairly and the companies are being taxed minimally at 15% for all their profits around the world. Here in the United States, we're used to a tax season that might last with an extension to October 15th, so 9.5 months. And that's a fairly long tax season to have. For the first year, the 2024 year, the tax return for this global minimum tax concept will be due not 9.5 months, not 12 months, but a full 18 months after the calendar year of 2024. So you're talking about June 30, 2026. And there's probably going to be extensions. There's already some safe harbors that are going to come out, that are already coming out, to make life a little bit easier for the multinational enterprises to calculate all of what they're going to have to do to prove the minimum rate applied. So for your friends or family members who are CPAs dealing in the international tax departments anywhere in our country or around the world, be nice to them.